the Asheville Buncombe League of Women Voters presents the 2013 Asheville City Council Candidates Forum. Moderating the forum is WCQS News Director David Harand.
If you have a cell phone, please at least put it on vibrate. Make sure it's quiet. That would be very helpful. We have quite a crowd up here, as you can see, and so we have a limited amount of time. So the time limit will be enforced. The candidates know they have 2 minutes to make an opening statement. They will all have an opportunity to answer each question, but only for 1 minute, and the closing statement will be 1 minute. Correct? Are we on the same page? Okay. And that's right, there will be a warning. Now, unfortunately, I get to be the police officer, so we will enforce the time limit. I would urge you not to applaud. Please, no applause. If you want to applaud at the end, fine. But we don't have a lot of time, and it would be best if you hold your applause until the end. We'll try to do this initially in alphabetical order, and then we'll reverse it and try to make this as fair as possible. I would urge you, if you've written questions that have kind of a political bite or an attack in them, don't be offended when I edit that out. So with that, we will begin with a 2-minute opening statement, and we'll start with candidate Cecil Rothwell.
Can you hear me? Having a mic this far from me makes me uncertain. That's why I wasn't sure. I want to thank so many of you.
Can't hear you.
Okay, that's what I wondered. Now, it could be a not on mic. Thank you. Yeah, I can lean over a bit here. Thanks to all of you for showing up here. It's really gratifying that people care enough to show up for a forum for a city race that's so typically underrepresented among voters. I mean, people don't show up to vote, which is a sad commentary. And I want to remind all of you that Tim Moffitt doesn't want you to vote. So vote, okay? I've been on council now for 4 years, my first term. I feel like I've had some pretty good effect in the city. I've reined in some arguments. I've made some positive arguments. I've voted alone on some issues, and I've voted with the rest of council on many issues. I've served on SACI, the Sustainability Advisory Committee on Energy and the Environment, as the liaison to that committee for 4 years because I really believe that energy is a critical issue for our community. The largest amount of dollars that leave our local economy is for energy, in the form of electricity via coal from out of state, or oil or gas from out of state. For nuclear power, at least east of here, we can generate more power here and do more for ourselves. So that's been a big goal of mine. Civil liberties also matter immensely to me. I ran in 2009. One of my platform planks was that I was going to introduce a civil liberties resolution to make it clear to the people of Asheville and to the people of the world that Asheville supports the Bill of Rights, that we don't discriminate against people based on their race, their gender, their ethnicity, their gender orientation, their religion, their political viewpoints. That will finally come before council on October 22nd. It's taken me 4 years to bring it all the way through. Numerous committees, numerous consultations. It's amazing how slowly the wheels grind sometimes, but I'm going to keep my promise next week, getting that on the agenda. I support multimodal transportation as part of our energy picture. I've tried to help with affordable housing in a number of ways. I've been chair of the Public Safety Committee for these last 2 years, and have been riding that horse during some very difficult times with the fire department losing our captain, Jeff Bowen, and the chiefs.
Mike Lanning, could you take the microphone? Thank you.
Well, first of all, thanks for inviting me to this forum, and it's nice to see the big turnout here. I was actually, I'm a native of Asheville. I was raised in Asheville, raised in West Asheville, which is now a cool place to live. Thank goodness, because it's always been nice. It's not. I never considered it worst Asheville. I always considered it best Asheville. So I'm glad West Asheville's starting to get some recognition. Thank you. After high school, I entered the military, went to the United States Air Force, and spent 4 years in the military as a security policeman. And once discharged from the Air Force, I wasn't wise enough to go into anything else. I went directly to work for the Sheriff's Department, where I worked there for about 3 years. After leaving the Sheriff's Department, I went to the Asheville Police Department July 4th of 1987. And unfortunately, on my second night with the police department, I was involved in a shooting where I was shot in the line of duty during an armed robbery. That really changed my focus, not only on my professional life, but personal life. I became very active over the years through the Police Benevolent Association, became the president of the local chapter of the Police Benevolent Association, which is semi-union without being a union in name. We did candidate screenings, and I noticed the former mayor, Sidnick, back there, we endorsed her when she ran for mayor. So I was involved in doing screenings for candidates. Now I'm on the other end, and I'm finding out it's an eye-awakening experience. So very nice talking to y'all.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks to the League for having us and for throwing a great forum and a great room here. My name is Gordon Smith. I'm currently a member of Asheville City Council. I was elected in 2009. I graduated from Warren Wilson College back in the early 90s and served overseas for a couple of years with a group called the Brethren Volunteer Service doing community reconciliation in Belfast, Northern Ireland with Protestant and Catholic teens. I've since become a child and family therapist working in mental health with kids and families here in the area. When I ran in 2009, I ran on affordability and sustainability, and I've delivered on those campaign promises. We've been able to bring good paying jobs to Asheville. We've tripled the Affordable Housing Trust Fund and created the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee. We have added miles of sidewalks, bike lanes, and greenways, as well as improving our transit service. We have I was able to introduce same-sex domestic partner benefits to the City of Asheville, an equality resolution, and a domestic partner registry that was able to ensure the people of Asheville that their city council and their city government recognizes them as equals, even while the federal government has yet to take that step. So when it came around to deciding whether to run again, the question before me was, well, have we gotten to where we needed to go? And the short answer was no. Even though we were facing a great recession and a hostile legislature, we were able to make a lot of advancements. And going forward, what we need to do is double down on affordable housing stock in this city, continue to create that interlinked multimodal transportation network, and change our economic policy so we can grow more good jobs in this city and grow Asheville's middle class. Thank you.
Does mine work? Yes. Hello, my name is Jonathan Wayne Scott. I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this event this evening. I'm a 42, almost 43-year-old father of 3 children. I've had the honor of being tortured by being a stay-at-home father for the last 3 years to my twin sons, which has been quite an eye-opening experience. My top 3 priorities of earning the privilege to serve on City Council are as follows. To use the potential of enterprise revenue to its fullest extent to supplement the funding of city school systems, establishing Asheville as the premier city in the Southeast for public school education. Secondly, to improve the level of maintenance of our infrastructure and civic services for the safety and benefit of our residents and for the respectable presentation of our community to tourists, retirees, and prospective businesses. And third, to improve civic efficiency through 100% transparency of all public financial transactions, specifically by posting the register of the city's checkbook online so that everyone can see exactly how money is being collected and spent every day. It is my firm belief, supported by business and economics publications such as Forbes magazine, The Economist, Business Weekly, and many others, that a strong education system is one of the key components to the economic strength of a community. The values held by individuals when choosing a place to live are the same values held by businesses choosing a place to operate. While I certainly do not believe that corporations are people, the decisions made within them are made by people just like you and me. Asheville is always on the market, so to speak. Our community is on display 24/7. As we invite tourists and retirees and businesses to visit our community, we cannot afford for them to take a pass on visiting again, relocating here, or establishing a business here based on a negative first impression. People make these decisions before they ever meet city officials or realtors. Our first impression must be supported by fundamental integrity, not superficial glitz, and I will strengthen that fundamental integrity. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Gwen Whistler. Thank you so much for this opportunity to talk to you. It's great to see all of you. I moved to Asheville 7 years ago. Prior to coming here, I was a business executive. My last full-time position was as the CEO of the Coleman Company, the outdoor recreation company. When I moved to Asheville, I started a company called Asheville Profits. And through Asheville Profits, I consult with businesses, and my clients pay for the services by volunteering their time with a local nonprofit. I volunteer with a lot of other organizations here in Asheville. I'm the president of the Botanical Garden, so go down and visit that on the way home, before dark, of course. I'm part of that Food Policy Council. I'm a bicycle safety instructor. I'm part of Strive Not to Drive and various other organizations. My background in business, I think, taught me a lot to listen well. It taught me to look at issues at a high level, and it helped me to allocate resources when funds are restricted or tight. And I hope those skills will help me if I'm elected to City Council. I believe in a safe, healthy, and vibrant Asheville. Safe is a strong police and fire department, good streets, well-maintained streets, sidewalks, both in volume and well-maintained. Thanks. Healthy, clean air, clean water, access to green spaces, sustainability underlying all of our decisions, and vibrant so that all of our residents in Asheville, no matter their economic or age group, have an opportunity to thrive financially. I look forward to tonight. Thank you.
Let's reverse the order and start with Gwen Whistler, who you just heard from. You are running for an at-large seat on City Council. The General Assembly may impose district elections on the city. Is that a good idea? And they could conceivably change the number of members. What do you think the ideal number should be in terms of the size of City Council?
Okay. I think deciding whether the city should have districted elections is really a local issue, and I would ask that the city actually vote on this. I've not heard a big hue and cry from the citizenry asking for districted elections, and I personally don't think Asheville's big enough to have districts. I think there's a benefit to have at-large seats because I think you can look at the needs of all sorts of various areas if you're not districted, but mostly it's what the citizens of Asheville want.
I don't believe that the decision to district the city council structure in Asheville should be dictated on high by the North Carolina State Legislature, but I am in agreement with that. I think that that's a better system for Asheville. Most of the cities in North Carolina that are larger than Asheville, with just the exception of a few, have district elections. Several that are smaller than Asheville also have district elections. Asheville is very geographically segmented, and each area of town has a slightly different flavor and different concerns. I also think that district elections allows for a greater focus of neighborhood needs, and that's the most local place that politics exists, and so I think it would be a great benefit to Asheville. And I would also like to see the municipal elections shifted to a regular even year cycle to correspond with the state and national elections.
I agree with Ms. Whistler that we need to be making these local decisions locally. We've seen an effort by the General Assembly to take our water system. We've seen an effort by the General Assembly to take our airport. This is another effort from the General Assembly to say to people in Asheville that their voices don't matter. So step one is the people of Asheville need to be making this decision, not legislators in Raleigh. My personal position around it is that folks who can put together a good campaign staff and earn enough citywide support, that folks from anywhere in the city can win. We've seen Councilman Pelley come from the east recently, Councilman Bill Russell, who had his place of business in the south and spent the majority of his time in the south, was a recent winner. So I think that we've had folks from various areas of the city prove that if you're willing to come forward and make a good run, that you can win. I would also say that being a public servant in this way is something, oh, I'm gonna have to stop, but I respect everyone who's willing to take this shot and run for council.
Can you hear me?
Incoming.
Okay. Well, I've got mixed emotions on it. I don't think the legislation should dictate to Asheville what to do. On the other hand, am I totally against district elections? No, I'm not, because currently I'm the only one running from South Asheville. And I've been growing up here and living here all these years. I've noticed that for years and years, many years, if you haven't lived here a long time, there's always been from the 70s, 80s, and 90s a group from the Kimberly Avenue area, and it's a law firm, and they've always either had someone on council or they've had the mayor in position. So I think they've always ignored other sections of town. And I find it refreshing that you've got a female African American from West Asheville as the mayor now. That's a good thing. So I think going to district elections, I think you do actually pay more attention to the local area and you can have more input. And currently, I don't think you have that.
Rather than repeat much that's been said, I'm solidly for the at-large elections at the size Asheville is today. Chicago, for instance, has district elections, and each district is about 50,000 people. If we had that here, we'd have 1.5 districts. We're I think, although there are different areas of town, we're pretty homogenous. And to address the year that the elections occur, which was part of the bill that Tim Moffitt proposed, although it hasn't moved forward yet, I don't think it should be moved to even years, because city issues, although we don't get big turnout in city elections, city issues would completely disappear in a presidential election year. There would be no front page coverage at all of city issues. And I think having it in odd years helps the league and others raise city issues to some kind of prominence.
When the new city council is sworn in, there will be no minorities on council. What does that say about the city, if anything at all?
I think what it says about the city is that each of the members of city council has to be sensitive to all the needs of all the citizens of the city. That if we look at various socioeconomic and racial groups that may not be represented on city council, that it's going to be up to us to reach out to those communities and to hear from them and make sure that their needs are met at the council level and that the concerns are heard. I will say that Terry Bellamy is one of these people who, she ran several great campaigns. She ran really young and won, and then won again to get on council, and then ran for mayor and won, and then ran again and won. So I think it just goes to show that folks with talent and enthusiasm and energy can make it happen.
Let's go to Mike Lanning next.
Well, it's like Gordon said, you'll have to reach out to the community. And I entered the race at the very last minute myself, because I waited until the last day and I seen nobody was filing. And unless someone files and tries to run for seat, you're going to have the same thing happening again. You want to make it tough on the incumbents. I mean, you don't want to just give them an easy chance. So I jumped in at the last minute, and I really don't know what the answer is. I'm finding out funds. I raise less funds than anyone. It's obvious because I get, I was a police officer and everybody I worked with, for because I was a police officer. But more needs to be done, and I don't know what the answer is, but reaching out to the minority community is a big, big plus.
Let's run this way. Yeah. I find it somewhat troubling that we don't have more diverse representation. We did have a Latino candidate 2 years ago, I believe. We've occasionally had African-American candidates. Obviously, we're right now 6 white and the mayor right now. But we voted unanimously to fund the Eagle Market Street project, which is going to revitalize a historic black district in the city. So we're not ignoring any particular community because of our race. I hope we see beyond that. But I would have been thrilled had we seen a more diverse candidate pool this year. I can't tell whether people are getting really bored with city or if they're really happy. It's hard to guess, but I'd urge anyone to run. And as far as the money goes, I get what you're saying about having maybe not a great, rich pool of donors, but my average donor has given me $50. And you know, if you find 500 people giving money, that works.
Let's go right down the line.
Jonathan? That's me. I would say that it's indicative of generational disenfranchisement of minorities, and this is probably pretty typical in most American cities. And there is certainly a problem with participation in the political process when it comes to money. I can assure you that my family is actually poor, despite my dapper duds tonight. The pressures that are put on people when they live in poverty are immense, and it's really difficult to change your economic trajectory when pressures are putting down on you. So I feel that it's just, again, issues of poverty and disenfranchisement of the minority classes in our town.
I think it's a little disappointing about lack of diversity. I mean, I'm the only woman running for council. So I would have liked to have seen actually us have a primary. It's a little disappointing that there's only 5 for 3 seats. But at the same time, I hope that whoever is elected does reach out to the community and try to listen to all the various constituents, no matter the race, age, or economics.